What's up, Aquarius, and welcome to your October 2020 Creativity Tarot reading. My name is Kaylee Jean, and welcome to my channel. I record these readings for artists, entrepreneurs, and anyone who's working on their personal growth, self-expression, or spirituality in any form. So if those areas of life are intriguing for you, I encourage you to go ahead and keep listening. I want to just jump right in. So what I was getting when I was tuning in for you guys was actually kind of a funny message because I saw someone's hands kind of going like this. And it was almost like I felt like someone was praying for like a sign or praying for help or praying for guidance. But I got the message that was kind of funny that came in response to that, which is definitely like making me laugh even now. Is like, you're already with it, Aquarius. Like, you already have it. You have everything you need. You have permission. You've been granted divine permission for whatever this is. And maybe it's also on the mundane level. Some of you are thinking about something that you want to create, or thinking about maybe making a big purchase, or thinking about some kind of logical next step, but it's kind of a big deal for you. And I feel like you're almost kind of looking at your life and being like, do I have permission to do this? Like, who do I need to talk to? It's almost like you want somebody with a clipboard to like walk up and be like, oh yeah, Aquarius, yes, you're ready now. Like, you've reached, your level of work, and now you're ready to go to the next phase. Like, I feel like you almost want somebody to just show up with a clipboard and give you permission. And the message that's coming through from Spirit is like, you're already there, Aquarius. You already know what you want. You already know what you need. And I really feel like you're at that level. You don't have to ask anybody else's permission. You don't need to get approval. I mean, maybe if you're trying to build a house or something, you might need permits or whatever. But in general, I feel like there's this energy of like, you're approaching something and it's not dependency, but it's more like you want to kind of put your toe in the water, but then you want some kind of feedback. And I feel like the message here is you don't need that. If you are in alignment with what you're doing, Aquarius, then that's what you need to go off of. And you can always change things. You can always rehash things. You can come up with a new solution, or you can change things up later, but you don't have to get it perfect your first try, and you don't have to get everybody else to sign off on it before you start moving forward. And I also feel like the secondary message, which may resonate more with some of you, is actually that you already have the skills that you need. Like, you don't need to take another course. You don't need to get another certification. You don't need something else to put on your resume. You're perfectly ready as you are, because you're also going to be adaptable, right? Any new situation, let's say you're going into a new career or into a totally different industry. You might feel like, oh, I need to get some kind of certification for this, or I need to have something on my resume to add, or, whatever. And it's always good to learn things and to grow as a craftsperson, as a business owner, or even as an employee. It's always good to increase the amount of skills that you have in your back pocket, the amount of services that you can offer, and the things that you're good at. It's wonderful to always be growing, but you don't want to use that against yourself and say, well, I need to keep being in this phase of investing in myself only before I give myself permission to move on to the next step. So I really hope that message is helpful for someone out there. You're ready. If you're wondering if you're ready, you're ready. Okay, so let's take a look at your cards and we'll get some more information. Aquarius. Okay, and this is the Halloween Tarot. Okay, let's take a look. So we've got spider as your path and the rabbit as the obstacle. In this case, the rabbit is an obstacle. And this is a really cute reading already. I love the spider for October. It's just such a Halloween-y type of card. I absolutely love it. But really, the spider card in this deck, it's all about your dharma. It's about your service to the world. It's about your life purpose. So this is a big energy for you, Aquarius. I was thinking because we have this Aries full moon on October 1st, which is actually going to be in your third house. So an Aries full moon in your third house of communications, travel, and basically languages and how you interact with others intellectually. When you have a full moon there, I think there is something about your life purpose that you are sort of redefining. I've shared this on my channel in previous videos, so I'm not sure if you guys, you in particular who are listening, have heard me talk about this, but I have a personal mission statement that I repeat to myself every single day in my business, which is that I am here to relieve unnecessary mental suffering. That is really the core of my personal mission statement, and it always brings me back to myself whenever I'm feeling lost in my career or in my creativity, or when I'm not feeling particularly connected to my voice as a creative person, as an artist, as a business owner, as a reader. It really helps me to always stay anchored to my truest intention, which is to relieve suffering, particularly mental suffering, right? Mental anguish, anxiety, things like that is what I really want to relieve, while also providing clear information and guidance with my readings. So having something, I'm expressing this to you right now, it might seem off topic, but I'm expressing this to you because you do have this full moon in Aries in your third house, symbolically speaking. And this is giving you the opportunity to rethink maybe what your mission statement is, what your life purpose is in your career, if you're staying in your industry or you're changing an industry in your career. I think there's something here about really paying attention to what you're really giving to other people. This is always something to think about if you are an entrepreneur, because we're not always really selling a product or service. A lot of times what we're actually selling, if we are, an entrepreneur or an artist, is we're selling first of all, our work and our time, but we're also like sharing an emotion and a vibration with the world, right? If you are a creator of any kind, a lot of what you're really doing is transferring a state of mind or an emotional state, a feeling state to other people. And if that connects with them, if it resonates, right? Vibration resonates. If your vibration that you're, transposing resonates with your client or with your potential customer, that's when they're going to find value in what you do. That's when they're going to become your repeat client. That's when they're going to become your customer, and they're going to talk to all of their friends about what you do, and they're going to recommend you to people in passing all the time because they really resonate with what you're doing. So for you, I feel like with the spider card coming up as your path and this full moon in Aries in your third house of communications, I feel like it really is about reframing what you feel you're here to do. If you're an entrepreneur, you could be reframing your mission statement. Like, you just heard mine. You might come up with your own or come up with a different one that resonates more to you now. But I do feel like there's this question of like stepping into radical service for others, which really maps into what I was saying with the meditation about like giving yourself permission to do that. And it feels scary because you have the rabbit as your obstacle, and the rabbit card, when it comes up in that position, is pretty much uniformly talking about anxiety and being in your head. So I can see that you're definitely struggling with that a little bit, Aquarius, but you just need to, again, come back to your purpose. Come back to your one sentence of purpose, that this is what you're here to do. And as long as you are doing your best and orienting all of your energies towards whatever that one purpose is, whatever that one sentence is, then you're doing what you're setting out to do. So you can leave the anxiety behind, because all you have to do is that one thing. Like for me, if I'm doing my best to relieve unnecessary suffering for my clients or for my viewers. That's all I have to do. I can wash my hands and feel good about myself at the end of the day because I know that I was doing my best. It's not a guarantee that I'm going to succeed, but if I'm doing my best to relieve unnecessary suffering in the world, I can feel good about myself at the end of a day of readings, right? So you can do that too, even if you're a hairdresser or if you are somebody who makes board games or, a video game designer or, a writer or a painter. It's applies universally and in your own way. So just think about that and think about what your mission statement will be. And I think that will really help you get out of your head during this time when you are challenging yourself. Okay, your tarot cards, you've got Page of Ghosts and the Emperor, Wheel of Fortune and the Two of Ghosts, Five of Bats and the Seven of Imps, which is Wands, the Hierophant, and the Queen of Bats, which is the Queen of Swords. Okay, beautiful. So that Aries full moon is showing up here in your cards. You can actually see it in this card. That's on the 1st. So as you're getting this, it's probably the 1st. But you're probably feeling, kind of playful and interested in generating a new order for yourself in your life, which is the Emperor. The Emperor represents order, structure, rules, and society, outer society. But the Page of Ghosts is like a playful, emotive, artistic energy as well. So I think you're really, you're trying to balance those two sides of yourself, the part of yourself that likes to play and have fun, and also the very responsible side of yourself that's very demanding of yourself and wanting to, move forward strategically. And I think it really is going to be about blending both of those aspects of yourself in the first week of the month. Again, with the Emperor, I feel like for many of you who are self-employed, it is going to be about finding the fun in what you do. It's going to be, if you feel like you've been kind of grinding it out lately with your work, the Page of Ghosts next to the Emperor is saying, yes, you still have to do the Emperor things, but you also need to have fun and to really return to what makes you joyful about your work. Because usually a lot of us, when we are self-employed, we became that way because we were excited to do something. We were excited to have our own business, or we really love doing a particular activity, and we thought, okay, maybe this can be, my whole life is, that would be great if I could do what I love all the time. And so if you've gotten away from that at all, it's like the first week of October is about returning to the joy of what you do. The second week of October has the Wheel of Fortune and the Two of Ghosts. So this is some kind of divine synchronicity or spark between you and another person in the second week of the month. The Two of Ghosts is typically about relationships. It can be about romantic relationships. You might have a new crush. If you're single or if you're partnered, you may get closer to your partner for some reason in the middle of the month. You might have, for whatever reason, a feeling of coming together in a more intimate way or spending more time together. Or if you've had a long distance relationship, you may be able to actually, inhabit the same home finally. There's a sense of really finding a lot of joy together. Maybe some of you are even getting a new cat or a new animal with your partner, which could be a big step for you or for the relationship, because there's a cat here and then there's these two people, or they're ghosts, but you know what I mean. And the Wheel of Fortune is like a surprise, but it's also destiny, it's fate, and there's a sense of joining forces with another person. So for some of you, it could be a business partnership potentially coming up in the second week. Or, like I said before, for many of you, it could be a chance meeting that develops into a romantic relationship. Or if you're partnered or you're married, it's like as a couple, a very profound, fortunate event occurs around that time that brings you closer or sets you both on a new trajectory. But either way, it feels meant to be. So that looks really good. The third week, there are some adjustments going on because what happened in the second week was this kind of divine and joyful event, right? But it's also life-changing. And I feel like the third week, you're kind of reeling from that because you have the Five of Bats and the Seven of Wands. So this is the Five of Swords and the Seven of Wands. And when I look at these cards, I feel like there's some things that you're leaving behind, and I see motion in this other card. So it's like on the one hand, you're like taking some things with you and you're leaving some things behind, and ultimately you're kind of moving forward. So some of you could be moving in that third week, or you could be setting out on a totally new path in that third week. You might be decluttering and getting rid of stuff as well. Or some of you could also just be dealing with a little bit more conflict in your life for whatever reason. You might be arguing with your spouse or your business partner or your colleagues at work. But either way, I feel like this is something for you to kind of weather. I don't see this as something you should necessarily fight against. It's more like you need to kind of keep your cool, which is not hard for an Aquarius. You guys are basically like steel, you're like a metal. You don't really like respond or bend that easily. So I think this is just about kind of holding the space for whatever conflicts arise and recognizing that this is just like an adaptive phase. So while you're going through it, keeping in mind that it's temporary and it's about really getting through this transformational period where you're sort of in between worlds in a sense. So keep that in mind and don't worry too much. Try and let the small things go in the third week. Fourth week, you've got Hierophant and Queen of Swords. So this is very serious energy. I almost feel like some of you could be finding yourself in a more advanced role in some way. If some of you belong to a club or a spiritual group or something along those lines, like a community, I almost feel like you could be asked to perform some kind of task that is sort of sacred to you, or that feels like you're taking on more responsibility. Even if you're not part of a spiritual group or anything like that, it almost feels like you're taking on some kind of a responsibility that feels like an honor. That's what it feels like, Aquarius. You're looking at life and you're seeing an opportunity to fulfill a role. Like, let's say you're a real estate agent, for example, right? And somebody who's like kind of more of a high profile client, or maybe it's your first client, something that feels like a big honor, right? That's being bestowed on you. Like somebody comes to you and is like, I want to work with you to sell my house, or I want to work with you to make my film, right? If you're a film director, or I want to work with you to illustrate my children's book, right? If you're an illustrator, whatever it is, it feels like an honor. It feels like, oh my gosh, like they want me. They want to work with me. Like that's crazy. But it's like something that you're taking seriously and something that you need to trust that you have the skills and the ability to take on this project or to help out, this client or whoever it is. Right? I think it's important for you to basically take this responsibility on with a sense of ethics and a sense of personal investment. Like you are going to make this thing work. You are not going to let this person down. So some of you, I think, are going to get some kind of a big project coming your way at the end of the month. Something that makes you feel like, oh, wow, it's an honor to help you out with this, or it's an honor to be on your team. It's an honor to work with you. Like that's really the energy that I feel from you at the end of the month is a sense of maybe a little bit of trepidation, but also a sense of really being honored by the request. And I think it will move you forward in your career, Aquarius, so just keep that in mind. Okay, so let's take a look at your Bob Ross message. He says, I look forward to seeing you again. Happy painting. God bless, my friend. That's really sweet. Aw, this is really sweet. I honestly feel like this is a message for someone out there from someone in spirit. This card, I feel, has a very strong energy of that with it when it comes up. I feel like there's a message in this for someone in particular, and maybe it's someone that has had other like hits with other things that have come up earlier in this reading that reminds you of someone who has passed on. And I feel like this is a recognition that the spirit is there, that they're paying attention, that they know, what you're going through, and that they are kind of like in your corner, backing you up, supporting you on a spiritual level, and they will also see you again. So it's a really sweet message. But for, the collective, I also feel like this was like the way that he signed off. So in some ways, I feel like this is hinting at the changes that you're embracing and how those are really going to transform your life. And to recognize that you are going on a happy new journey now. It's your time, Aquarius. It's your time to explore something new and different. And I think that it will be like happy painting, It's like you're going on your new path. So I hope this is helpful for someone out there. Please let me know if you have any feedback or questions in the comments. If you just want to say thank you and support this reading, you can give this video a thumbs up. You can subscribe. You can also just leave me a little Halloween emoji or a Halloween message, something along those lines, just to say thank you. Comments really help my channel in the algorithms of YouTube. So if you want to say thank you, but you don't have the ability to donate at this time, that's a great way to do it. And I just hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. Sorry, my puppy is in my lap and she's kind of stirring a little bit. But I hope you have an amazing month ahead. Take care of yourselves and stay safe. And I'll talk to you next time, Aquarius.